Hello, this is Lamar Dyer, and this is Gaming and Transmedia Storytelling Careers. The first storytelling careers I'm going to talk about is storytelling for the United Nations and an interactive designer for the Central Intelligence Agency, both government jobs. So this first one for the United Nations is for the He for She Empowerment Summit. And what He for She Empowering Summit is basically that they're trying to enforce gender equality around the globe. And what the mission that you have, if you choose to accept it, is to tell stories that in such a way that, one, it doesn't just cater to the United States, that everybody can get behind it. Two, you can also be entertaining and have humor, but it takes there's no partiality, that everything is whole. So these stories are what they like to call gender neutral. Now the interactive designer is basically you're making assets for the President of the United States and other United States policymakers through storytelling that you can actually give them an idea of what's going on in the world and how to better, react and understand what's going on. Next one is transmedia careers. I'm going to talk about the experienced designer for Industrial Light and Magic Lab, as well as the Transmedia Story Lab Director for the University of Chicago. Now, the Transmedia Story Lab Director is basically you're a teacher. You're basically doing what Jason does, except you're doing it at the University of Chicago, and you're the one who documents storytelling workshops, you lead teams, you're the one who actually makes the transmedia and make the stories and the assets for it. So you actually tell them what transmedia is. So like I said, you're making transmedia for students to learn. The next one is the ILM, or Industrial Light and Magic Lab Experience Designer. So you're making assets in the sense that you have to have a strong storytelling background, and you're not just dealing with, you're dealing with virtual reality, you're dealing with augmented reality, you're dealing with real-time cinema, you're dealing with stories that goes over all of those spectrum. So in that sense, you're making a story for each one of those, and that it's, you have to be a creative storyteller. You have to be able to get something that strikes to that audience to say, yes, I want to see that story or watch this story unfold. The gaming careers. The first one is the gaming content strategist for YouTube, and the associate encounter designer for ZeniMax Online Studios. In this case, content strategist for YouTube is, you're making assets across YouTube, live stories, community posts, merch, sponsorship, in order to help game creators improve getting their money, and to improve their, subscribers and their overall viewership. Also, with content strategy, with gaming content strategists, tell them what games are coming out. How could they better reach the audience from a media strategist point of view. You're telling them how they can get more views based on what video games they play. And the last one, the encounter designer, that's more for, I would say an actual gaming career. But what's cool about it is you have to have an excellent storytelling. Like that is a big, that was actually one of their first bullets, is that you can communicate clearly and that you have excellent story and visual composition skills. Like you can actually say like, wait a minute, the hero, the protagonist is walking to a dark forest, and suddenly a huge monster appears. Now it's a fight. Even though that was just incredibly horrible, but that's the basic gist of it. So those are the careers that looks profitable for gaming and gaming and storytelling. So hope you enjoyed this. Ciao.